Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are starting a new season, a new episode of our 2023 college football preview and record prediction series as we get started with the Oregon State Beavers. From now on, every single day this summer, there is going to be a new college football preview and prediction series out every single day starting today. We're starting with the Oregon State Beavers, and then we're going to continue to move on. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below as we are going to do all the Power 5 teams, including the new ones like BYU, Cincinnati, and UCF, and Houston as well. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And if you want a Group of 5 team or an FCS team preview, make sure that you put that down in the comments section down below. Also, make sure that you like this video. Helps out the algorithm and stuff like that. So let's get started with today's video as we discuss the Oregon State Beavers. So their first game on the schedule is the San Jose Spartans. And before we get to talk about the Spartans, we should talk a little bit about this Oregon State team. So you have 8 returning starters on offense, 5 returning on defense. You got a lot of production to make up for, especially on the offensive end with the loss of Luke Musgrave, the tight end that went to the NFL, though he got injured early last season, so it's not as much of a big deal going into this season. Also, a big thing here, you have the QB somewhat competition between DJ Uyangole and Ben Goldbranson. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, but with that, I think that DJ is probably going to win out this job. Chance Nolan transferred to TCU earlier, and I think that this job is probably going to go to DJ, and I think it should be pretty secured. Now let's get on to the schedule portion of this video. So with this first one, we have the San Jose State Spartans. I think this is a pretty clear victory. San Jose State has been a little bit better in these past couple of years under the leadership of their current head coach. But really, overall, San Jose State, you don't have much competition there. You should be able to get an easy W. Talking about easy Ws, UC Davis, another easy W. UC Davis has been solid among the FCS ranks, and they're not a terrible team, but by no means are they a star-studded lineup with a bunch of 5-star prospects. No, UC Davis should be an easy win there. Then moving on to their first big test of the season, that's against the San Diego State Aztecs. The Aztecs could possibly be looking at a move to the Pac-12 in the next couple of years, so this could be interesting as a future kind of realistic game. But I think that they're going to be able to get the W here. San Jose State does have a lot of production to replace as well. So I think that DJ and the offense should be good enough to be able to start to get some points on the board. And I think be able to get them to a win, especially coming off of a good 10-win season for the Beavers. I think that this should be a win here. Talking about wins at Washington State, this is your first big road test of the season. I say big kind of very smallly because really the big road test doesn't come until November when you have to play Colorado or Oregon. Really, other than that, all your big games are at home against teams like Utah and UCLA and stuff like that, the Washington even. But this game against Washington State, this one was a tough one to pick because Washington State also has a lot of returning production. But I think that Oregon State has a good overall identity, and I think that the direction that they are going in, I think that that is a good direction. And I think that with DJ at the helm as quarterback and at returning their running back production, that was also really important, I think, in order to do that. So I think that with that, you definitely are going to be able to get a win in Pullman, though this is a game that I could easily see going the way of the Cougars over the Beavers. But I think under the direction of a guy like Jonathan Smith, I don't think that's going to happen. So moving on to the next game, you have your first and biggest test of these Pac-12 opponents, and that's against Utah. Last year, to put it mildly, Utah beat the living crap out of Oregon State. And even though I don't think that's what's going to happen this year, I think that they are going to take the L in this game. I just don't see Utah being an experienced team that brings back starters like Cam Rising. You do lose a lot of defensive players like cornerback and Clark Phillips and tight end and Dalton Kincaid and stuff like you. There's no doubt that they lost a lot coming into this year, but at the end of the day, I do think that this is a team in Utah that has a lot of pieces that are just, it's going to be hard to stop them. That's really what I'm focusing on here, is that it's just, this is not a team that I think is going to very easily give up the Pac-12. And even though this game is in Corvallis, and Corvallis has proven to be a pretty tough pace to play in these last couple of years, I think that this is still going to be a win for them overall. So next game, you have Cal. This should be an easy win. I don't think Cal's going to be much competition for this year. And I think, to be honest, their head coach, who I'm blanking on their name, I think he's probably on his way out, because I just don't think that you can continue to coach the way he has, just being so mediocre. Justin Wilcox, that's who he is. He's going into his 8th year now as head coach. So I think that you really are going to be able to beat down here. I think that you are in a good position as well to be able to do that. So moving on to the next game, you have the UCLA Bruins. This is going to be a really interesting game. UCLA did lose their quarterback in DTR, but here's the interesting part about it, is that they got in 5-star quarterback Dante Moore to be able to come in and be their quarterback this year. We'll see whether he actually comes in and is quarterback this year. I think he probably is. But if he isn't, it could be a really interesting matchup. But with this game being in Corvallis, I think it's going to be a W. I think that they're able to get the win here and beat Chip Kelly, because this is a massive game with implications. If Oregon State wants a chance at that Pac-12 title, you're going to have to win a game like this. With no game against USC this year, that is a blessing for Oregon State, but at the same time, if you lose to Utah or Washington or Oregon or UCLA, I think that it's going to be a pretty tough road ahead. So I do have a W for the Beavers. Then you have an off week, and after that off week, you head to Tucson to play the Arizona Wildcats. I think you're able to get a W here, even though I think that this program is heading in the right direction overall, getting some solid players, showing some production and stuff like that. I think that it is in the right place compared to where it has been, but this is still an Arizona team that they're not going to be 1-11 or 2-12, but they're 2-10. Sorry, but they're not going to win this game. I think that Oregon State should be able to get a win here heading into that week. Then they head to Boulder to play Deion Sanders Buffaloes, and even though I think Deion has this team heading in the right direction generally, the problem that I have with it is just simply the fact that Colorado, they're just not in a particularly good place when it comes to roster-wise. They have some elite talent at the top end of that roster, whether that's Travis Hunter or Shakur Sanders or whoever. But after that top level of athletes, you really start to get into a group of guys that is just not Division I level athletes. And I think that's kind of the problem. We're still looking at the same roster to a degree that still is just not good whatsoever. So we do need to take that into consideration. So I think that you get the W there in Boulder. Then you head to Stanford, where you had one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 all last year against Stanford Cardinal. I think you're able to get this win and win no problem. So I think that you're able to get that W, though it is going to probably be better. It is probably now going to be under better leadership now that David Shaw is gone. I still think that you are looking at a team and an environment in which you're going to have to be able to get a little bit better. And I think that is definitely something that you're going to have to improve on. And I don't think within 1 year that program is going to be heading in the right direction. Then we head to one of the biggest matchups. You have Washington coming into town, and I think that this is going to be an L. I'm sorry, Oregon State fans, but this is a tough one, but I think it is going to be a loss here, as I think the Beavers, I think this is just going to be a tough environment. And even though you lose 2 of your 3 biggest home games this season, I think that this is a team, Oregon State, that you have a little bit of a question mark at quarterback with DJ. How good is DJ going to be? Because if DJ turns into the 5-star quarterback that we thought he was going to be, then it is definitely going to be a well-played thing there. But you can't focus on that. And then finally, you head into week number 13 or week number 12 against the Oregon State Ducks, and I think you do take an L there. You beat them last year, but let's be honest, it was a little bit of a fluke, I think. Even though I'm sure a lot of Oregon State fans would be mad at me for saying that it was a fluke, I think that this is going to be a tough environment to go into Eugene right after they lost all of that momentum. I think Bo Nix is going to be coming out for vengeance, but it should be an incredibly fascinating game in the Civil War battle. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the 2 videos down below, hit the subscribe button up here, and as always, have a great day. Bye, guys.